Is Nigel Simmons, and this is my presidency on the life of George Mueller and faith that moves mountains, as well as my own personal journey. Imagine waking up with no food, no money, and hundreds of hungry children depending on you. What would you do? Would you panic? Would you give up? George Mueller didn't give up. Instead, he prayed. And that morning, as the children sat at empty tables, a knock came at the door. A baker stood there with fresh bread. Moments later, another knock at the door. A milkman whose cart had broken down, offering free milk. Coincidence or faith in action? Today, I wanted to talk about faith. And faith that doesn't just sit still, but moves mountains. Faith that overcomes obstacles. Faith that provides when there seems to be no way. George Mueller, born in September 27th, 1805, was called to live by this kind of faith. And I've seen it in my own life too. Faith in Jesus is not just some abstract idea. It's real, it's powerful, and it changes lives. Let's talk about George Muller's life of faith. George Mueller wasn't always a man of great faith. In fact, he was once a thief and a liar, amongst other things that I can't talk about here. He admitted in his autobiography, quote, "My father, who had educated his children on worldly principles, gave us much money considering our age. The result was that it led me and my brother into many sins. Before I was 10 years old, I repeatedly took of the government money which was entrusted to my father and which he had to make up, until one day, as he had repeated this money, he detected my theft. Muller's life continued down a dark path as he continued to grow up, and by the time he was 16, he was in prison for fraud. He wrote, "Greater than I was in prison from December 18th, 1821 until January 12th, 1822, when the keeper told me to go with him to the police officers. Here I found that the commissioner before whom I had been tried had acquainted my father with my conduct, and thus I was kept in prison until my father sent the money which was needed for my traveling expenses to pay my debt." Muller was lost in his earlier years until he encountered Jesus. That changed everything. After around 20 years, he felt called to care for orphans, but he made a radical decision. He would never ask anybody for money. He only prayed and trusted God to provide. And the crazy thing, it worked. Over his lifetime, Muller cared for around 10,000 orphans. He built orphanages and provided food, clothing, and education, all without asking for donations. He simply prayed, morning after morning. He faced impossible situations, no money, no food, no resources. And yet, every time something happened, just like that morning with the baker and with the milkman, needs were met. How? Well, Mark 11:22 says, "Have faith in God. Whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be given to you, or it will be yours." Hebrews 11:6 says, "Without faith, it is impossible to please God." Muller didn't just believe in God, he trusted him completely. And because of that, the impossible became possible. But faith didn't just work for Muller, it worked for me too. I know what it's like to be in a desperate place, to feel like there's no way out, to lose hope. There was a time in my life where I was struggling badly. Suicidal thoughts, no money, no way to afford school. I wanted to go so badly, and I had searched for a job for about 20 months plus, and I found nothing. I was completely lost, falling into different degenerate hobbies and groups just so I could feel satisfied and putting my faith in things worth nothing. To believe in a chair is despair. But then one day I prayed and I put my faith in Jesus, not as a last resort, but my only hope. And then something happened. Within 3 months, literally, everything changed. My lifestyle, my look, everything. After over a year of searching, I finally got a job. Suddenly, I had enough to go to school. Everything turned around so quickly that it felt impossible. But it wasn't impossible. It was faith in Jesus. Romans 1:17 says, "The righteous shall live by faith." And that's exactly what Muller did. And that's exactly what I experienced. So what does this mean for you? First, faith is not just sitting around hoping for the best. Faith is action. Faith is allowing Jesus to opening the doors that you need so that you can take that action without wandering. And Muller, he didn't just sit back and wait for things to happen. He prayed and he worked. I didn't just give up, but I prayed and I kept searching. Faith does not replace action, but faith fuels action. And second, faith in Jesus never fails. Muller, without a doubt, proved it with thousands of orphans provided for. I proved it when my life turned around in ways that I couldn't have imagined, and now I'm here. And you can prove it too, because Jesus is still faithful to this day. Mark 11:22 says, have faith in God, not in yourself, not in the circumstances, not in luck, not in luck. Faith in Jesus is what moves mountains. So finally, in conclusion, George Miller's life is proof that faith in Jesus leads to real, tangible results. My life is more anecdotal proof out of billions of testimonies that say that Jesus will turn everything on his head and spin things around, even in the darkest of moments. Faith isn't just an idea, it's the key to overcoming obstacles, to seeing the impossible become possible, to making a dead person live again like me. So I'll leave you with this. Don't lose hope, please. No matter where you are, Jesus Christ is the faithful one. And if you trust him, he will deliver you. Just as he did for Muller, just as he did for me. And he can do it for you. Because Jesus said it best. Mark 11, 22 through 24. Have faith in God. Please read the whole quote, though. Thank you very much.